Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the GNOME train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
Hello, Internet. It is Frazley the Awesome Gnome. Each week, I am joined by awesome people from Azeroth and beyond, and we talk about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. On this episode, I talked with PerfectNomad and Sascz. I got to know a bit more about their creativity, talked about things like being in a dinner theater and performing in an orchestra, and more. So let's use my customized ultra-safe transporter to head on over to meet up with this week's guests. Well, I am joined by PerfectNomad of Freezing Nomad and Sascz of Raiding with Lisia. Hello!
Hey there, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's amazing. I'm like pumped. It's Thursday. It's awesome, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do this.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Friday.
Yeah,
Could be bad.
nothing can be bad because Friday is sort of the weekend. We're working toward the weekend.
Party. Okay.
Well, I think with that, Epicinsanity, what time is it?
It's time to go around the table.
Great ideas. So for this episode, I'm going to check in with what we've been up to recently and talk about our individual creative projects and kind of what's going on in our lives. So what have you been up to?
Nerfect Pomad.
If it's easier, you can call me Nomad.
Nomad, okay. That'd be perfect.
Nice. That was a good one. I like that. Well, this week in World of Warcraft, on Sunday, I joined my raid team and we downed Mechatork. Sorry to say, Frazley.
I have heard, I will say their fate, and I won't say anything more than that. That leaves speculation. So I'm excited to see what's happening next. Or sad. I'm happy or sad.
Happy, sad.
Some emotion.
Everything in between.
It's all the same.
But yeah, we did that, raided some more, and I just do a lot of world quests in World of Warcraft. Been leveling my Magar Orc Hunter just because I wanted to try something different.
That's awesome. Your passion about the Blizzard community is always fun, and you're passionate about Blizzard. And like,
thank you.
You have a podcast called Freezing Nomad, and that one's always fun to listen to. And you seem like you can go through the whole thing without having to stop at all. And I'm just in awe at your skills.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And the only reason I do like just single takes is because I don't know how to edit. So just to save myself some, pressure, I just try my best to just continue on with it. That way I don't have to edit anything.
Oh yeah, I don't edit it here. No, I edit ever since January of last year. I edit. With the launch of the Freezing Nomad, I wanted to talk about that. You launched it last year, and then I see that you brought it back for 2019.
Yeah, so last year it was just a project that I wanted to start. I've listened to a lot of different podcasts, and I had some encouragement to like try my own. Like, why not? As you said earlier, I have this passion for Blizzard and its community, and I wanted to give back. So I decided to try the Freezing Nomad. I went through like 2 different names. The first one was the Gabin Gilnean.
Gabin will get going.
I wanted to do that. And then I figured I don't want it to just be like Alliance sounding. So how about the Azeroth Nomad? Didn't work out for me. I was like, whatever. And I was like, how about this? The Freezing Nomad has Blizzard and Nomad, my name. And, Nomads kind of fit wherever they can. And it's because the Freezing Nomad isn't just about Blizzard games. Primarily it is. But sometimes I'll play like a different game and I'll want to talk about it, like Red Dead Redemption. There's this game I like as well called Dead by Daylight. And I talk about those games like on my podcast. So it doesn't just pertain to Blizzard games, but primarily it does.
That is smart. And that way it keeps your brand in case something were to happen with Blizzard or even your interest. It helps you move that onto whatever your interest is.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. I've got like a whole retro wave theme going on too. I just really like that whole aesthetic. So,
it is so cool. Like, I've got the synthwave soundtrack on Pretzel, which I use for the streams for the music, and it's so cool to have that synthwave. And it feels like Stranger Things. It feels like I just watched Maniac, which had a whole '80s feel. That was fun.
It's a good one.
And you have an amazing job, I just have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So I have been to where you work, not the one in California. I've been to the one in Orlando. But you work for the Medieval Times.
I do. Medieval Times over here in Buena Park, California. I just got my business card.
Nice.
It feels really good.
So how did that get started?
My very first job was scare acting over here at a local theme park called Knott's Berry Farm. It's also a part of Cedar Fair. I'm not sure if you live around one.
Oh yeah, Cedar Point, just north of us. It's kind of an Ohio tradition to go to Cedar Point.
Do you go during October?
I have been, and I'm too afraid to go there for the scare nights, but I hear a lot about it.
Well, the original one started here at California over in Knott's Berry Farm, and I was part of that tradition starting in 2011, and I ended it in 2016, so about 5 years I was a scare actor. So I needed a different job. I was also part of the float team at Target around here. I didn't like that anymore. So my friend who works at Medieval Times, she said, why don't you try and apply here? Why not? I was big into LARPing. I used to do a chapter called Belagarth where we just whack each other with foam sticks. I'm like, I do this for fun. Why not get paid to, have some fun over at Medieval Times? I walk in, I start applying, and my now supervisor, he walks out of his office and he's like, hey, you looking for a job? I'm like, yeah. Let me see your resume and all that stuff. And he's like, all right, looks good. You're comfortable wearing a costume? Yeah. All right. We have an interview Monday. And it went from there.
Nice.
Yeah. I got very lucky. Very fortunate.
Well, and I've been hearing ever since you started there, you've been helping make kind of like the go-to for anybody who goes to BlizzCon. Someone was saying, I think it was on one of the BNNs, that they will change the jokes for BlizzCon week.
Change the jokes?
Or at least add something about Blizzard somewhere. They'll say something about Blizzard.
Oh, yes. Funny thing about that, sometimes Blizzard will buy out the establishment and will make a customized show just for Blizzard. And this isn't anything like private or anything. Like there's Twitter threads out there. So anything I'm going to say here, like it's already been covered. Yeah, sometimes we'll do that. I'm hoping that it could happen again sometime soon. Who knows? But yeah, we'll do that for them. And I've been very fortunate to be a part of 2 of those.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
With all that, I bet some crazy things have happened. What is the craziest thing you've seen?
Craziest thing, man, like it's what haven't I seen while on the job? We've had drunk people hold up in the bathrooms. We've had our gym like go in there, like all sorts of crazy things. I've seen a drunk guy like with his keys like looking for his car, and I had to go like, hey, no, like, you need an Uber. But I would have to say one of the coolest / craziest things I've seen, we had the opportunity to go to the Blizzard Arena over here in Burbank, which is about an hour and a half from Medieval Times. We walked out the Los Angeles Valiant for one of their processions. The guy who was like heading that and everything, he got super stoked that we were there. He was really excited, and he asked us, he's like, hey, do you guys want to see like how this all works? And we're like, yes, we do. It was with me and my buddy Solified. He's just given us a tour of like the studio, and we got to see like all the cool things like that happens backstage, like through the views of the players and everything. It was so cool. And then when we walked in, a bunch of Blizzard employees were just like, you're the Medieval Times guys. Oh, like we were fanboying over them, and then they started fanboying over us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was quite the experience.
I love that. It's amazing way, like you're amazed at their work.
Yeah.
But then they're amazed at what you're doing. I mean,
it was like a fun clash of geekdom.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you love most about being a part of the Medieval Times?
I would have to say it's probably the people, the job itself. It's never a dull moment working at Medieval Times. Yeah, I'm in the marketing aspect, so I'm always in costume. I'm driving around the branded cars and everything. I'm trying to, sell the product. It's part of my job. And like I'll walk into a building and the sign will say like no soliciting, and I'll just walk right in like I own the place, like hey, like hail, and it's always fun like getting a reaction.
Yeah,
shouldn't you be riding a branded horse?
Yes.
I mean, driving a car, that just seems so anachronistic. And those horses are beautiful. I've actually been to that Medieval Times a long time ago. Oh my God, the horses.
The PRE, the Spanish horse, the Andalusian.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The Andalusian stallions. Yeah.
I went to the stall behind the show and just seeing the horses and seeing the care of the staff for the horses and the love the staff have for the horses. You could tell that they loved their job and they loved the horses. I'm sure there's politics in any business, but there's
right.
You could tell that the horses were family.
The horses are family to us.
Yeah.
They're the show. Without them, we wouldn't have a show.
Isn't that the same kind of horse that Silky Raven has? Do you know, Frazley? From Girls Gone WoW?
I didn't know they had a horse. That's cool.
I did not know that.
You didn't know Raven had a horse? She talks about him constantly on the podcast.
Yes, because I remember they talking about how one time they were going down the path and everything's going fine and the horse gets freaked out. You're right. Yes.
Yeah, I think He's either an Andalusian or he's like something similar to that. Oh my God, he's gorgeous.
And I'm sorry, Silky Ray, but I don't know why I forgot. It must be my short memory. I'm sorry.
Was that a gnome joke?
Yes.
Can't make me spit out my coffee.
I have to hurt you now. It is time to hurt Frazley.
Would it be the first time?
Oh no.
Bam.
Ow. What is one thing people don't realize about dinner theaters?
It varies from dinner theater to dinner theater. We have one next to us, which is Pirates Dinner Theater. I don't really know what goes on over there, but on the weekends, we have 3 different shows. Same show, but like we have 3 different time slots, and each show is sold out most of the times. And we seat 1,200 people. So there's a lot of love and care that goes into preparing the food, setting up the stations, cleaning. We have people all day, all night, making sure the establishment is well taken care of. We have people on call 24/7 taking care of our horses. We have our knights training constantly from the moment they clock in to the moment that they're done. They're training, they're riding horses, they're cleaning them, all sorts of different stuff. So it's just a lot of care.
So like for us, we go there and we enjoy the show, but we don't see all the behind the scenes.
Right.
That's amazing. I've always loved the behind the scenes of stuff. Like there was a dinner theater that closed down in Florida. Similar theme to medieval times, but when I heard the backstory of the people behind it, it made that personal connection. And it was one of those that like it was this person's dream to do this. That's the amazing thing is I love the showmanship. I love the presentation. I love all that stuff that performers do for their work that you never see. You just see the results of that 1 hour.
It's a lot of love and care that goes into it. You know, it's definitely given me a deeper appreciation of like, if I go to Disneyland or something like that, the characters who are in character, like they embody those characters, you know, or like even the janitorial staff, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, very much.
And medieval times and you were a big part in something that happened recently in the community and bringing it around. So World of Podcasts, to me, is an amazing thing for podcasters and the community to connect with the podcasters. And like when I talk with podcasters, when you see people and you talk with people that are enjoying what you're doing and you can geek out with them, that's the best thing ever. And that's why I hear from people, World of Podcasts is an amazing thing, either if you're there in person or like me, there virtually. I was honored to be part of one of the panels this year virtually. Mm-hmm. It energizes you. It sets you for the year. So how did you get What a Podcast to go ahead this year?
I wanted to be a part of it. Like I wanted Medieval Times to like just have some sort of presence there, like whether it be a small donation or just like a table or something. So when the Kickstarter came out, I showed my supervisor like, hey, you know, maybe we can do something with this. You know, it's a community thing. I want to be a part of it. This is the thing I went to last year in costume. We didn't have a presence there, but you know, people were really cool. And like, I know people there. He's like, okay. So he was watching the Kickstarter and he was just completely floored. Like it was funded in 2 days, but it needed that extra push to get to World of Podcasts. And he's like, okay, don't worry, we'll make it happen. So then I contacted a few people, eventually got to Seraphis, and you know, I told him like, hey, I work with Medieval Times. We want to sponsor you. Here's how much we want to give you. And he's like, awesome, let's make it happen. That's what happened. Like my supervisor was like, okay, let's do it. I mean, I knew I couldn't let it fade away. I knew it's something that people needed, something that people wanted, and I'm very happy we were able to help make it happen.
What I love that story is you could have very well just been like, oh, I guess it's not going to happen. But you were like, I wonder, can I use my skills, my connection to make it happen?
And I really enjoy bridging that gap when it comes to like, you know, just, it's not a normal job, but like my supervisor, sometimes he just doesn't get like the gaming world. And I'm like, okay, let me put it in terms for you, man. There's an untapped market out there. Let's bridge that gap. But for me, I'm just like, no, I want to be a part of all this.
Yeah. And you're also a Twitch streamer. I've tuned on one of those, but it's weird. When I saw you on camera, I was like, oh, that's what you look like. So I must not be looking at the webcam. I must be looking at the game you were playing.
Well, I'm not going to like blame you for that because it has been a while since I streamed. It's been about 4 or 5 months since I streamed, but within like that time frame when I was streaming, I did manage to hit affiliate thanks to, you know, a lot of people in this community. Thank you guys. And it's something I want to start up again. I want to stream Heroes of the Storm. I want to stream Overwatch again. I want to stream WoW. I want to do that. It was definitely a lot of fun for me, and I've made a lot of connections through it.
And you were mentioning that there was something that you got a part of, and then you kind of realize what you were a part of and you were trying to get out.
Yeah. I made the mistake of joining a thinly veiled follow for follow community. And I found it through somebody who is like a mutual, don't blame them at all. Like I don't at all. But they retweeted it and I was like, wow, this sounds like something I want to be a part of. And it started off like really nice. Like, hey, let's do this. Let's be part of this community. We're going to go in people's streams in this community and we're going to promote them, whatever. And we're going to lurk. That should have been the red flag right there. However, the longer I stayed in it, the more I realized like what it was, and I ended up not liking it. So I just kind of like was trying to remove myself. And what really did it in for me was when I tried to clean up my Instagram and everything. I removed somebody from my Instagram because I was trying to like make it a more personal Instagram of people that I knew. And then he has a program that tells him who unfollows him. So he sends me a screenshot on Twitter and he's like, thanks for the unfollow, dude. I'm like, oh, that's not cool. I was like, dude, I'm just trying to clean up my Instagram. He's like, no, whatever. I get it. And I don't know, like it rubbed me the wrong way. And I didn't want to stream anymore. That person started being pushy. When I would stream, he would just say some things like make me uncomfortable. And it just, I don't know, like I didn't know how to handle it. I don't know, like, and at the time I started school and it just felt like it wasn't really for me. So I had to like take it away for a little bit. So I don't know, like I want to get back into it, but I want to just build something. Like I want to continue streaming and just let people come to me instead of like me being involved in like a community like that.
And the reason I wanted to bring that up is both for me, it can be easy to get like somebody's not following me. I mean, and it's an easy trap to get into when you see somebody that was following or wasn't following you. I wanted to point that because I know there are probably some people who have been, what's the right word? I'm trying to use a word that's not too negative, but somebody's been like accosted for unfollowing. And it's like sometimes follows and unfollows should never be taken personally.
Right.
And if somebody's out there who's been accosted, maybe the person's going through something in their lives, but it's easy to get in that trap. And then sometimes it's hard to get out of that trap.
Right. You know, and it's like, I don't know, like when I started like looking at like the different people like within that community, I noticed that they had like a lot of followers, but zero engagement. And that's when I knew like, oh man, I fell into a trap here. And it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel right. And it felt like I was just talking to a wall. But with that being said, there were people communicating with me, and there are people today who still say like, hey, when are you going to stream again? I miss you. And like, we'll talk back. Like, I miss you too. It's just, my life is just wacky right now, but yeah. Yeah.
Life can definitely get in the way. And it's right now I'm in a streaming frenzy, but though I know there'll be times where I won't be in a streaming frenzy again. And it's
frenzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The frenzied gnome.
I want it. I want to stream. I gotta have it.
Oh my God.
I'm having too much fun with that voice box. Well, thank you, Nomad, for sharing that. And look, I it was perfect this time. I didn't say perfect Nomad. So.
Or Furpic.
Or Furpic.
You know.
So Sascz,
yes.
What have you been up to?
Oh, God. Well, especially lately, I've just been trying to rest. I got a lot sicker toward the end of last year. I'm actually considering going on disability for a little while from work. You know, their paid disability, so that I can just like take 6 months and sleep, essentially. That's been most of what I've been doing is sleeping. I've actually quit everything that's not work that feels like a responsibility, even if it's fun, because that's stress. Even if it's fun stress, it's still stress. Stress is what makes me sicker. I've actually quit my orchestra just for a while. I've quit. Well, I haven't been podcasting, obviously. There was one other thing I quit, which I forget what it is. But anyway, I stopped doing everything because, you know, I'm trying to remove all the stress from my life. So now the only stress I have is work. And it's, as I say, I'm thinking of taking about 6 months, and HR is actually on board with this. I've spoken to them and they're like, you know, that might be a really good idea. It's just to not be here for 6 months and get better if you can. So I'm looking at that, but of course it's less of, you know, it's like 2/3 of my salary. So I have to be able to afford it. And that's the big problem with that. that's what I've been doing lately in a nutshell, sleeping. I'm still trying to do as much RP as possible. Oh, the third thing, that was rating. I gave up rating for a while, which is part of the reason why I have nothing to podcast about. But I gave that up just for a little while. I've been just RPing when I go online. That's all I do right at the moment.
I think it was great that you realized what was going on and you were able to realize, what do I need to do to get myself back?
Yeah. I mean, it's been really rough because, I really like doing those things. I love rating. I mean, I don't do it very well, but I like to do it. I love being with my orchestra, but I realized that, I wasn't practicing half the time. You have to practice a little or you're not going to learn the music. And, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't enjoying it, really. And it kind of broke my heart because I love to sing. But yeah, everything just had to go. And as I say, once I feel I can afford it, work is the next thing to go.
You were bringing up RPing,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been RPing. Are you still on the Blood Elf, or are you on a different?
Well, I have a whole bunch of tunes, but they're all elves, all my RP tunes. Especially on the Horde side, I don't like any of the other races. They just don't do anything for me. Maybe trolls, but yeah. So they're all elves, plus I have some elves on the Alliance side that I also RP with, the add-on cross RP, and now the flasks that you can get in the sewers have really done a lot for that. It's really kind of cool.
Though with that, you can get in the sewers.
Yeah.
Where's the water coming from?
Ew, stop. I don't want to know what she's using to mix her flasks. The little goblin or whatever she is down there.
I thought that's because
Thanks.
Keep costs low.
Thanks for that.
Icky.
Well, yeah, I've been absolutely drinking those. Fabulous. Okay, good.
I'm sorry. That was a pretty crappy joke.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I'm going to come over there. Don't think I won't. I'm going to come over there and find you as soon as it's not freezing anymore, because didn't you guys have a blizzard?
Oh, and it's going to get colder again. Yeah.
See what I did there?
I like
it. Oh, and funny enough, I was just talking with somebody that I ate a blizzard with back in September.
Oh, God.
Oh, so what is one hidden pitfall with RPing that prevents people from succeeding?
Okay, so a lot of people get discouraged because, they join. And honestly, I was one of these people. And they just kind of go overboard and make everybody annoyed with them. And then nobody wants to RP with them and they don't know what to do and they give up. Or they have a habit of saying the wrong things at the wrong time. Maybe being a little too sexy or something, and people don't want to deal with that because they're sick of RP predators or whatever. So people who are perfectly innocent really will find that nobody wants to talk to them. And the thing is, what you just have to do is just keep persevering. Somebody is, it's sort of like what you tell people about relationships, somebody's out there for you. You will find, one or more people to RP with. And I think that's just the most important thing that anybody should keep in mind when especially if they're just starting out. It's like, you know what? You may think everybody hates you right now, but just shut up and listen for a while. Stand to the side on some conversations, join some events, and just be quiet for a while, and you'll find that you have people to RP with. I
love that because to me, it speaks to me on the podcasting and the streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, people won't trust you, or you won't be good at it, and people will be like, "Okay, I'm going to be over here." I have had people that have said they have not listened to the show in a long time because they didn't like the original show, and I'm like, I don't blame you, but it was one of those. I had to keep persevering.
Yeah, your show has changed so much, Frazley. I don't know that mine ever changed at all. I mean, I think we got better at it, but I don't think it really changed. I mean, we didn't change any of our format. We haven't changed a thing about Rating with Lisia, but we're happy with it. But you've changed a lot about your show over time. It just gets better and better.
Oh, thank you. And it's just been every week trying new things, trying different things. Like, I think the biggest thing that was for me was learning that it's about all of you. It's about the people. The game itself is not as important as connecting with you. I become friends with you, Sascz, through this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hopefully become friends with you, Perfect Nomad.
We're friends already.
Oh.
Well, see, there's nothing more to want.
Oh, look, I found my soulmate.
End of show.
Success.
So you've been doing the Rating with Lisia podcast, so it's on hiatus right now.
Well, the problem is that that's one of those things that feels like something I have to do, even if I enjoy doing it, if that makes any sense. So, like, I was going to come back. I was all set to come back. And then I was just like, oh, God, I don't feel like doing this.
Yeah.
And so I said to myself, I'm not going to push myself, to do it. But I want to come back. I mean, I really enjoy sitting around and, shooting the bull or whatever with Oro.
And that's always funny. I love the banter on that.
He is the funniest guy on earth. I'm not even sure I could do... Like, I'm looking at doing another type of podcast, and I'm like, but it's not going to have Oro on it, probably. How am I going to do it? I feel like I would be boring just by myself.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. And see, the thing is, of course, too, we don't script it. So, we have show notes. You've seen our show notes.
Yeah.
And they never get any more fleshed out than that. It's just little bullet points, and then we just go on and on and on and on. And I don't even do much editing, except like if he coughed or something, I'll try and edit that out.
Both of you are like the perfect co-host, because both of you know how to bring out each person, but you also know how to get each person. So it bring out the tension, but you also bring up friendship. And I love that part.
Yeah. I mean, we had a ton of fun doing it. Honestly, the only reason that I'm probably not doing a show this weekend is that I haven't been on in like 3 or 4 weeks. In fact, I hope all my auctions didn't go into Neverland because I just haven't been on. I've gotten kind of bored with leveling. I've got 2 tunes up to 120, and I was just like, oh my God. Then I went to only RPing, but even then I haven't been in game. I've been doing it all on Discord. So I'm kind of like, how could we do a show? We stopped rating, which really isn't the idea, but it is in the title, so people expect us to say something about it. On top of that, as I say, I haven't even been in the game. I'm not sure that Oro's been in the game either. He's been playing Stardew Valley recently.
Fun game.
So yeah, he just got it for me on, I keep wanting to call it the Twitch, on our Switch. I keep going, hey, you want to play some Twitch? And then I'm like, wait, that's the wrong one.
I can see a time where you go into Twitch, and like Twitch plays Pokemon. I can see like there's a streamer out there, and you're like pressing buttons and making them do things.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, and I am so happy. As you know, I'm trans. I'm going to start going into the actual process later this month.
Nice.
And he said to me, hey, when you're all done, you've got the body you want and everything, do you want to get married again?
Aww.
Oh.
And I was just like, so we're really excited about that.
That's awesome.
He definitely is the perfect partner in so many ways.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really unusual to find a partner that isn't at all negatively affected.
That warmed my heart. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
It hurts to smile. My lips are chapped, so
I've been there.
Smiling.
No. Here, let me squeeze some Vaseline through this.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, it got all over the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I've got a question, Sascz. So I remember you telling the story about your last wedding was the Las Vegas wedding. So will this be another Las Vegas wedding?
No, we actually want to go up to Massachusetts so my mother can be there.
Oh, that's cool. So speaking of Massachusetts, there's something over in Massachusetts, or maybe it's in the DC area, but it is, I believe I got the acronym, WMGSO.
Oh, yeah, no, that's down here in DC because it stands for Washington Metropolitan Gamer Symphony Orchestra.
That is awesome.
Yes, that's us. I'm still a member. I'm just not performing with them right now. And I had to quit my board position. I just did not have the energy.
And you definitely don't want to do something without that passion. And you want to be able to give it your all.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's actually really exhausting, particularly considering that we rehearse in a school and they don't always turn on the AC when it's hot. For us, they sometimes just turn it off at the end of the day, unless somebody they really care about is also there, like, for a basketball game or something. But it's really exhausting, both rehearsing and performing. And I just don't have the energy right now. But I'm still a member, and, I'm keeping track of everything they're doing. So,
how did all of that get started?
Well, what happened was there was a Gamer Symphony Orchestra at the University of Maryland. And when some of its members graduated, they wanted to form one that wasn't part of a university environment, so that people who were past university or whatever, had nothing to do with University of Maryland, could participate. Unfortunately, because they rehearse, again, as I say, in school, they couldn't take any members under 18. And my son, Dante, has been begging since he was 13 to join, and they just couldn't consider it. He is now a member, so that's great.
That's awesome.
But that's how it started. I think U of Maryland might have been the very first. I'm not 100% sure. But they were definitely one of the first. And we are one of the first non-university, if not the first, gamer orchestra.
What is the craziest thing you've seen at WMGSO?
So, you know how most performances of whatever sort, they have a dress rehearsal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So our dress rehearsal is, it's a total run through with tech and everything. But what we do is we all dress up either formally, so like in tuxes and ball gowns, or crazy. So like some people are in swim trunks or kigurumis, those little onesies, adult onesies, whatever really. But just about everybody dresses up, and that's our dress rehearsal. And if you think it is easy trying to play a tuba in a kigurumi, think again. I am glad I do not have to try.
Wow. I think I've heard of it all, and then wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I love that. But what do you love most about being part of an orchestra?
I'd have to split it evenly between getting to sing, which is my favorite thing to do pretty much in the entire universe, and the love. Everybody cares about you there. I have never felt so cared about as I have been with this group. It's amazing. I mean, we definitely sometimes get on each other's nerves. There are times when I want to kill certain people, but that they've got your back. In fact, it's one of the things I really, really miss. I kind of just want to go to a rehearsal just to sit there and drink it all in.
And would you say that is one thing people don't realize about an orchestra?
Yeah, how good it feels to be a part of a group like that. I think that, of course, we're a little more nerdy than your typical, symphony. But I think that in any group like that, I've been in various bands and other types of performing groups. I was in an a cappella group once. And even though none of us were close, like in the a cappella group, there were 3 of us, 2 guys and me. We didn't even know each other before we started. We just kind of happened to run into each other and realized we could all sing and decided to do it. And it became so important to us that we really felt like we were close while we were doing it. Unless you're competitive, like you're competing for someone's seat or something like that, I think that it's impossible to perform music and not feel at least some sense of closeness with everyone else there. You get euphoric. I found this when I was doing plays. I would just get so euphoric. And I felt such love for everybody I was with. I think that's why co-stars often fall in love with each other. And then after the movie or whatever is done, they break up a lot of times because, it's like that euphoria stopped because they weren't seeing each other, in that way constantly. But performing is it's such a high. It really is.
I've been in choirs, and I was in a stage play, and what you said just brings back those memories of being in that. And I mean, just you bond with the people there, and it's not about you. It's about you and them sharing this thing with the world.
Because you're cooperating. Everybody has to do their part to make it perfect. I'm kind of a diva with my voice because I've always had that voice, And when I'm singing with the orchestra's chorus, I make sure I blend. I don't do my diva tricks, if you will, because it is important that we all sound good, not that, one person sounds good. Unless they're soloing, obviously.
Yeah. I've only had one solo. It was one note, and I don't even think I stayed on the note the entire time I was supposed to stay on the note.
Well, we would recruit you if you were local.
Okay.
So.
and that'd be fun. And I mean, especially video game music. Oh, I love that.
It's marvelous. And we play it in the style of classical music.
Oh.
We'll sit down and arrange all the parts and play it as if we were a classical symphony. Have you got your album yet, Frazley?
I don't think so.
Did they send it? Okay. Huh.
Unless, no, I'm thinking back to the packages I have. Again, I know my short memory. It's all hard for sometimes to remember all that stuff. Oh, along the same way, you misplace things or things stop working. Kind of like my Fitbit isn't turning on right now.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like, whoops.
But I was watching a show. My Fitbit's like, no time. So I'm working with Fitbit support. But it did make me kind of rethink, what are my priorities? And the last 2 days, yesterday I did not get my steps, and today I'm not going to get my goal. I'm still working on my goal for walks, but it made me rethink, do I need the Fitbit or do I need what it makes me do? And because the app can do most of the same stuff.
Right.
So I'm still using the app. I'm working with support. So I love Fitbit. And again, I'm still going to be using the Fitbit app. So don't at all not buy a Fitbit because of what I just said. I am an active user of the Fitbit. So my Fitbit probably just died out of like, I can't take it anymore. Put me out of my misery.
Well, you use it every day to track your steps.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say I stopped using mine because I don't walk. It doesn't care how far I scoot with my scooter. I could scoot 8 miles a day and it would just, whatever, you're not walking. And I'd be like, thank you.
The Apple Watch does that.
Does it?
It has a thing where the Apple Watch knows the rotation of the wheelchair, which is really cool.
Oh.
I did not know that.
The thing that actually bothers me about not walking is I can't hatch my eggs in Pokemon Go.
Oh, yes.
That really bothers me. I'm like, come on, it should just be distance, not walking.
Yeah. And I started using my Pokemon Go again because it lets me sync my phone's pedometer to it. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got the Let's Go game that integrates with Pokemon Go. Yeah, that was, I think, like the first game we got almost on the Switch. Yeah, so I have a huge interest now in playing Pokemon Go, which I had stopped playing for a while, but I'm back to playing it, and all of a sudden I'm like, hell, I can't hatch my eggs. What the heck am I going to do here?
What you do is just put it in, oh no, I was going to say put it in a car and have the car move, like move around, but like, no, they know when you're going fast, and they don't count those steps. Oh!
Right,
Wow.
And it's specifically, it seems to be specifically steps that it wants you to take. When I'm on my scooter, I don't go any 20 miles per hour, okay?
Yeah.
But it's not counting. It's not counting the distance I go on my scooter.
I've got a friend, though, who has one of those electric wheelchairs, and they can boogie on that. I'm like...
Oh, I can go pretty fast.
And aside from that, I've been trying out, this week was trying out some things, like in creativity, I've been trying out XSplit. I was having issues with OBS. For my setup, I was having issues with it. But XSplit has a thing called adaptive bitrate. And tonight it seems to be working pretty well. Like it still will drop if your internet drops pretty fast, it'll still drop frames. But as soon as it realizes, okay, what's your current medium, it'll be like, okay, I'm going to drop your bitrate down to here. And then we will slowly keep checking to see if we can take you back up. So I've been liking that. And I like how it's running. The CPU had to recreate all my scenes. So definitely liking the software. And it's part of like, they always be experimenting and never let problems stop you. I was talking with somebody today about how there are some who will see a problem and it's an obstacle. But for me, I've never been that way. I'm always like, here's this problem. Okay, what do I need to do to get around that? It helps me better understand people who get stopped by obstacles, because then that way I'm not frustrated with them, because I'm like, okay, no, it's just how we see the world, and we see the world in different ways. So loving XSplit, and we'll see how it goes. And I had a question of something I wanted XSplit to do. Went on their Discord. They said, oh yeah, absolutely. It's done on roadmap.
That's awesome.
They have a very active Discord, and they have a support team, and they even have live chat. Today I started doing the Streamlabs chatbot. Streamlabs OBS had a really cool chatbot that you could put in, but I don't have that with XSplit. So I was like, they have a downloadable one. And I now have a new chatbot that is called OmniSpark. And I also renamed the Me6 bot in Discord to be OmniSparks, because I wanted to kind of make it like it's the same bot, even though it's actually two different bots with the same name. But the AI is all working together. And then in WoW, leveling a lot. I've been leveling like a monster. Ento is now 93. So I went to the Valley of the Four Winds, did not see Tosh Mifune and Professor Talif. I looked around, but Leo Wild said they're probably working on the next story. I was like, absolutely, that makes sense.
What is Ento?
He is a hunter, and he is a high mountain Tauren.
Ooh, how are you liking the high mountain?
I love the antlers.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Tauren. The Orbit Deception is so perfect for me, because as a gnome, it turned me into a Tauren. Tauren's like my opposite thing. Well, probably because of the height.
Yeah. The antlers gave you a little extra height too.
Absolutely.
That's true.
I'm like the Michael Jordan of Tauren.
Super tall.
But I cannot play like Michael Jordan can. And
none of us can.
I definitely can't.
And then, like, aside from that, projects are going well. Each week is a new adventure for me. So, like, once I publish something, it is on to the next thing. Always trying new things, just like the XSplit. And I also found a new tool called Ulysses. I can't say that word, but it's I'll have the link in the show notes. But it works in Markdown. I have learned the joys of Markdown for formatting.
Oh, yeah, Markdown's nice, actually.
And I love how Markdown keeps things standard. Then you can say, oh, can you export this to HTML or plain text or rich text? I love it. So I've been moving everything over to Ulysses, however that goes. Well, before we move on to the community question, I've got 3 questions for the both of you about creativity.
All right.
So what was the biggest challenge you've had to overcome?
It's currently a challenge that I'm going through right now, and that's persistence. Consistency is key when you're a content creator. And I know I've definitely failed on that front, just mostly for the fact that I have work, I've got other things that I need to tend to. I've learned that it's just something that I need to do. Like, I need to make a set plan and stick to it. That's why I brought back the Freezing Nomad, because I want to go back and make it a consistent thing, which I still need to record before the end of this week. So I'm trying to stick to it. And that's my biggest obstacle. Yeah.
We have very little rest of the week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Getting a cold didn't help at all.
No.
So I think you have to anchor yourself down and
tie him to his chair. I would say my biggest challenge has actually, especially in the last few years, has just been my health. There's so much I want to do. I'm working on a book. I'm working on a couple new websites. Obviously, I would like to continue rating with Lisia. I'd like to do a couple of new podcasts, and none of that has happened because of my health. Performing is something I'd like to do a little more of. And it's like, I have the time to do all these things, I think. But if somebody were to be asking me the question, so would you like to work on your book now, or would you like to take a nap? And the nap always wins. And it's weird. I never used to be able to nap. Now I can nap just fine, but I can't sleep at night. And it's not because I nap. Even if I don't nap, I can't sleep at night. It's kind of hilarious, because it'll be like, I don't know, I'll get like 2 to 4 hours of sleep at night. And then I'll go to work, and then I'll come home and I'll be like, okay, bye, and I'll just nap, so then I don't get anything done. I'm still stuck on chapter 1 of the book I'm working on. So I still haven't brought my websites live. And I used to be one of those people who would just do that stuff really quickly, and it hasn't been happening. So that's my biggest challenge right now. When I do have energy, I tend to procrastinate. But right now, it's not so much procrastination as just, I gotta sleep now, fun. So.
You want to do it, but you can't.
Exactly. I'm like passionate about doing it. It's like, I need to do that. And then, no, I just now.
And what would you say is the best thing that has happened to you since you started it all?
Started what?
Creativity, the orchestra, working at the dinner theater with the horse puppies.
Horse puppies? Is that what you call them?
Horse puppies. They really are like big puppy dogs.
Yeah, they are. I love horses, so.
And I love their personality. That's what I always love seeing. I never owned one, but I always love hearing the stories of like the personality. And yeah, now remembering all of the things with Silky Raven and like hearing all like the stories of the horse wanting to do this. Like, no, we need to do this, but I don't want to.
Yeah, they're stubborn.
Yeah, they are. We got to perform, and I think it's the last performance I was in. We got to perform at a gaming convention in DC for 2,000 people.
Wow.
And that was just absolutely wonderful.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
We're really happy.
That must have been something else. Wow.
Yeah, the video's actually up on the internet. Just don't look at me because I look really, really strange.
I think you're cool.
I do too.
Well, thank you.
The best thing that happened to me since I started podcasting, I would have to say last year when I launched the Freezing Nomad, there's a buddy of mine named James Richards, English guy. And I don't know, like he works for Blizzard, and he kind of like commented on his Twitter. He's like, hey, if you're a content creator, like, show me because I want to get your name out there. And I was like, well, here's this thing that I'm working on. I haven't really done anything with it. And then he retweeted it. He's like, hey, let's help my buddy out here. I like what he's got to say. And then like, I just got like a huge audience from it. I was like, and that was like one of the cooler things that has happened to me since I started podcasting. He really gave me a kick in the pants to keep going.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. It was awesome.
James Richards is like, I think, a project manager at Blizzard. And yeah, great person on Twitch, great person on Twitter. I love following their Twitter. They have great posts and all that. And I bet it's fun getting that recognition of like, I worked on this project. People like it.
Yeah. And he plays a mean Junkrat too.
Oh, wow.
I wonder if he's like one reason I don't go into war mode in WoW is I'm always afraid that I'm going to run into Fist, because have you seen Fist's Twitter? It's just like the anger toward Alliance. I'm so afraid.
Oh my God.
Frazley, I think you get a free pass though.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people hate gnomes.
Oh yeah. We are always the punt of all jokes. So what is the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you?
Would probably be from Jules and Marconin, and they said just start. I had asked them like, hey, like, I want to do this podcast thing, I want to stream, like, what should I do? And they both told me, just start. If you build it, they will come.
Yep. And
it's that was the best advice. I think everybody had that struggle of just starting something.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
For me, I think it would be, well, actually, it's kind of two different pieces of advice, but don't let anybody tell you what you can't do.
Absolutely.
That's very good. Very good advice.
And it's okay to take care of yourself.
That is also very solid advice.
I snuck in an extra one.
Because I think that's great, because I'm with you that there's no gatekeeper on creativity. One of the reasons why Anchor's been so successful is anybody can start and anybody can find that love for podcasting. I mean, and you're the only one who can decide your destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's like one of my favorite Black Sabbath songs, Heaven and Hell. That whole song is all about choosing your own path, your own destiny. And that's why I've always enjoyed that. That's something I've always taken with me.
And sometimes it's also great to talk with people. One thing I love is being able to talk with a community and ask them a question. So my question, if WoW were a dinner theater, what would the show be like?
Wonder where you got that from.
Yeah, well, I wonder who inspired me on that. And funny thing, real quick, I was at a mystery dinner theater, and one of the actors was on Kenan and Kel, and like I was just so like as a kid so excited, like they were on Kenan and Kel.
Oh man, that was a jam growing up. Who loves orange soda?
Kel loves orange soda. Are you going to continue it?
I forgot how it goes.
Oh. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.
That's right.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's just where we become like pretentious 90s kids. Like, oh, only 90s kids would know.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You remind me of the Babe.
What Babe?
The Babe with the power.
What power?
The power of voodoo.
Hoodoo?
You do.
Remind me of the Babe.
Yes. Oh. I love that. It's like I love Labyrinth, even though I'm a 90s kid. I love Labyrinth. Oh, I've never seen Dark Crystal. Oh no, I got to turn my geek card in now.
Oh my God, get out.
Okay. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Somebody else who's probably very upset with me is Allie. Said, great question. Lots of fun ways to answer. The first thing that came to my head, though, was dancing murlocs. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yes.
I don't do Murloc very well, but
Have you seen Turkey? We'll even do like the little dance and like the kick, like the frog in. Oh, I saw that and I was like, because I always wanted that Murloc from BlizzCon, the first one, but I couldn't get it. So I was glad to know Turkey does that.
Yes. Turkey is very cute.
And you can get it because it was part of a Coke promotion in China, and then WoW added it. Go to Northrend. Everybody should go to Northrend. Northrend is one of the coolest places, except when you rage on 2 quests. But anyway, over on Twitter, Alice Saunders said, one where you get a seat quick and order and wait and wait and wait. Stuff happens on stage and lights flash, and sometimes a stage fight happens and you see the guy at the next table get his order, which was the same as yours, and he is enjoying it and you're still waiting. And I said to them that I've been to a theater like that, and now Alessandra replied, I think we all have, and you are pretty sure that guy arrived after you did.
That's like every fast food joint.
Yes. Oh, have you ever been at a table where like you're just like, okay, I'm good, but then someone at the table is just like staring at the waiter at the waiter like just like, and you're like, oh, I want to just crawl into a hole right now. I don't want to be.
Were we at the same restaurant?
And then Spaz Weston says, it would be a grand medieval banquet with as many of my friends as possible, but no matter how many times you organize and go, that there is always one person who can't make it.
I've heard a lot of stories of people doing that coming to medieval times. We've had to refund a ticket every now and then.
Oh, I bet. And then Robert replied with a GIF of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Thank you for pronouncing that correctly.
Absolutely. Just like the peanut butter.
Yes, exactly.
Is it GIF or GIF?
It's Jeff, the guy who created the not protocol, but whatever, said it's pronounced GIF, like choosy programmers choose GIF.
I did not know that. See, I always thought it was GIF because the graphics interface format. All right, so you just blew my mind.
Yep, I do that. I do.
And for me, I always have to remember, because I want to call it GIF because when I see it, I pronounce things the way that they're pronounced. But I've learned over the years things aren't always the way that they're spelled, like pacology, stuff like that.
That's a big word.
Yeah. And I replied to Robert that we could do the time warp again.
Woo! Jump to the left.
Step to the right.
Okay, we're fine.
I did the time warp. For one of our studio showcases, we did the time warp as the opening song. So I know that song so much.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, Sascz, what would a dinner theater be like for you if WoW was a dinner theater?
Okay, well, first of all, nobody would be able to get there because, like, the road would be down or something. Then when they finally did get there, they would be like, where's all my friends? Where's all my friends? Because of phasing and sharding. And then finally, when everybody got together, this huge, like 9-headed monster bug would come out of nowhere and devour the entire audience. And it would be a wipe.
That is perfect.
What kind of micro holiday is this?
Right?
Oh, wow.
I killed Frazley.
I think when you first killed me was the road when it reached down. I'm like,
right? Because nobody can log in.
yes.
The world server is down or whatever.
Oh,
Okay.
that is great. And Perfect Nomad, what about you?
Mine's a little bit more serious.
Oh. This one's serious?
Let me rephrase. Mine's not as fun. I want to bring back like that Argent tournament style. So obviously taking from my job, I would think it'd be cool to have like a dinner theater in the game where it's like the Brawlers Guild, where you can choose your seat where you want to go, and then like your food gets brought to you. You can click it and you get like a buff, you know, like a well-fed buff. And then like there could be a show kind of like I was thinking like, you know, the Elite Tauren Chieftain, like where like there's a concert but like there's a show going on, and then you can like vote to be in like a duel with like another person, and you can joust each other kind of like in the Argent tournament. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like a
it
micro
needs to
holiday.
happen. Yes.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. That would be so
Like
perfect.
little crowns.
Yes. You know what, though? For me, the best part of that whole show was going back to pet the horses. So there has to be a part like that where you can pet the mounts or something.
Or you can change your mount to look like a mount in that. Kind of like for Christmas. Oh,
yeah, that'd be good. All right. Hey, Blizzard.
Yeah.
Make it so.
Yes. Man, I thought I had a really cool one, but now you just blew my mind. So mine was I was thinking it would be like a dinner murder mystery theater. Everybody goes in and you're all sitting around there. All of a sudden, somebody in the audience dies. I mean, not really, but
right.
You know, I and then like all of a sudden you're like, who did it? I mean, we kind of had that with Sylvanas and stuff like that, because like, who done it? I mean, like, I can just imagine everyone's having dinner, the helter still starts burning, and like, ah! And then at the end, there's like a punchline, and everybody goes home and has a good time.
I can picture that setting like in Karazhan in that very first wing. With like the long table. Yeah, and like Clue, like the murder mystery mansion. Oh my goodness.
Every once in a while somebody attacks you, you know.
Oh, yeah, for like massive damage.
Yes.
Ooh. And you have to have multiple endings at the end. Oh, you thought it was this way?
Well, it ended like this.
It's just got a sidebar with that.
Wow. Well, thank you both for joining me on FrazlCast tonight. We had a great time. I laughed a lot.
Yeah,
I agree. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, me too.
Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PerfectNomad. I also have a podcast called Freezing Nomad on Anchor.fm. You could also follow the Freezing Nomad on Twitter at Freezing Nomad. That's also on Spotify. And you could also follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/PerfectNomad.
And funny thing is now Spotify owns Anchor, so...
That is correct. That is very true. And I'm very, very optimistic for what's going to be in the future.
Oh, me too. I told somebody that I don't want either company to fail. So I'm actually excited that if Spotify did this, I hope that means that they have a huge amount of capital, because I love the interface of Anchor. And if it can keep it going, awesome. Because I've got friends on Anchor. So I'm like, I know people have been like wanting Anchor to fail. I don't want it to fail. I just want it to go on. I told somebody I had videos on blip.tv and that went away. So that was my only thing. Blip.tv did not have a Spotify.
Oops.
Yeah. And Sascz, where can we find you?
Well, I'm at Lisia Raids on Twitter. That's LIS as in Sam, IA. Although I haven't been posting very much. And I'm also at Lothy for my kind of real life persona, whatever real life is. That's LOTHIE. And my website is ratingwithlisia.com. At some point, there's going to be content there again, I swear.
Nice. I'm excited for that. I want to hear. I was thinking about Groundhog Day. And I was thinking about your Groundhog Day episode last year.
Yes. We had a lot of fun doing that.
I loved it. And you got to hear your voice. You got to hear your awesome singing voice.
That's true. I want to do more of that. I actually set up a Patreon, but I don't think anybody has Patreoned me because I was intending to do extra stuff, have behind the scenes and songs and stuff like that. So when I do come back, that's going to be included as extra stuff for patrons.
I'll have a link in the show notes to your Patreon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Aww.
Well, and I've got a surprise. This is a dinner theater.
And I'm an old guy, and I'm going to head back to Ironforge.
Oh, no.
Wow. Okay.
I'm back at my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon. Well, that has been another packed episode of FrazlCast. I wanted to give a shout out to America's Next Top Podcaster. It's a podcast where podcasters come together for challenges, and they learn from people who are seasoned in the art of podcasting. There are a couple of people from the Blizzard community, as well as people I've run into from the podcasting community on it. So definitely check it out. I got it on my podcast queue to listen to. And thank you to Allie for the awesome review of FrazlCast on Apple Podcasts. She said, "The show from a gnome with a big heart. Frazley is one of the most caring and genuine podcasters in the Blizzard community. This really comes through when you listen to the show. Each week brings discussion with one of the rotating regular guests and or a new guest to get to know. The positive podcast includes conversations about World of Warcraft, the community, and fun randomness. I highly recommend it to anyone interested in World of Warcraft. Thank you for all that you do for the community, Frazley." This review gave me a huge smile when I saw it, so thank you, Allie. You're awesome. And definitely check out Dungeon Fables. It is an awesome podcast. I always love hearing it every week. And check out Allie on all things Azeroth. Definitely, I love it when Allie gives Sascz to Maedros and Toasty and Vandef. And thank you as well to people like Crushinator and Strapped, who sent me messages this week saying how much they enjoyed the show. Strapped sent me a message on the day I was struggling to edit, and it got me motivated. And Strapped told me how they've seen the growth in the show. These things are the creative Red Bull I need to continue making podcasts every week. You could say it gives me wings. And speaking of which, I should finish recording this so I can get it out onto the feed for you to listen to. So I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. Until next week, be awesome. Welcome to the Frazley Report, a short broadcast by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the World of Warcraft. So here's some of the news that has happened. Hogress was added to the cash shop last week. There's been an uproar because they were not raised free range. And there's also a new cash shop addiction club that is meeting in the Lagerdemain Lounge every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. EST in the North American regions. Oh, unfortunately I can't attend because I'm usually streaming my gnome leveling with Michael of the Blue Recluse. And I don't have a problem. The next time I run with Michael, should I wear the Crown of Eternal Winter, the Jewel of the Fire Lord, or the Hood of Hungering Darkness? So Elite Tarn Chieftain and the Blightboar are incensed that Fortnite is getting fame for Marshmallow holding a concert. Some even say it's the first virtual concert. ETC has been performing since Warcraft 3, and both perform many times day and night all week, every month at the Darkman Fair, and ETC performs every 3 hours at the World's End Tavern over in Shattrath City. But people don't seem to like leveling in the Outlands, so I can understand why people forget. The Fortnite concert was just 2 10-minute showings. And concerts like this have also been happening in Second Life and Active Worlds. Let's mellow out and move on to another topic. Alessandra brought up to my attention that Google's AI project DeepMind beat StarCraft players recently. Jeremy Fiesel has said that the Allen Expedition's AI is coming to the Arathi Basin Brawl in 8.1.5. I've been trying to contact my sources on whether DeepMind is behind the AI in World of Warcraft, but each time autocorrect keeps changing my messages, and then WhatsApp crashes. Even going on my Mac, the spell correction keeps changing my words, and Gmail refuses to send my messages. Something fishy is happening, and I don't mean the rise of Ajara or N'Zoth's increasing grip on the world of Azeroth. All of these games have some form of AI, but only StarCraft is connected to the cloud. as far as we know. What if these systems start talking to each other? That could get really scary. Online, the systems seem to know what we're searching for and deliver ads to us. Just last week, I was finding ads for toys. And I was looking up that one toy that looked really cool. And now it's all over. And I'm like, I want that toy. And I'm like, oh. And with method achieving world first, one has to think, what if the PvE AI in raids and dungeons could learn from us? Every wipe, every kill, and many people, myself included, use virtual assistants every single day. I use Alexa to turn on my studio lights. I wonder if Siri, Google, Alexa, Cortana, Watson, Bixby, Jarvis, Kit, and the other AI we are playing against, what if they start using the weaknesses that they learn about us from when we use them when we aren't playing? So many unknown variables. Apparently Alexa can learn when you're sick. Because so much of our world is run by these things, we may never know the answer. They'll never tell us. And I better be very careful or Alexa may turn off my lights. But wait, we thought it was nature or the light that was making things go round in the world. Then we learned of the Titans. And now we are hearing more about the old gods who may be above the Titans. And now AI might be working against us. But I have one final question. Who runs the elevators? We routinely die to these. They seem to know when we're coming, and they go at the most inopportune time. I always end up dying to these. Almost as if they watch us and cackle. Who is in charge of those? Well, we may never know, but I do know one thing. It's time for me to sign off. I'll have an even more detailed look into these topics in the Frazley News Hour broadcast this evening. But until next time, be awesome.
Hi, my name is Joe Hogan, and I'm a geek. And if you're currently listening to this, there's a good chance you're a geek too. So check out my podcast, Geektitude. Each week, I talk with somebody about their geek aptitude. Sometimes I talk to people in a geeky profession. Sometimes it's someone doing something really cool with their geekiness. Often it's another geeky podcaster. But it's always someone who wants to share their inner geek. So join me each week as we come together to geek out about all the geeky stuff we love. And remember, this week, keep it geek.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment. Views expressed by the host and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended.
Want more awesomeness every week? Visit weeklyawesome.com. Weekly podcasts to make your week better. Remember to smile and be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.